I'm about to save you a ton of money. In this video, I'll show you how to process PDFs, images, spreadsheets, and other documents locally in your .NET application. No paid APIs, no cloud dependency. We're building on the budget agent from my previous video, but even if you haven't seen it, I'll give you the context you need here. In this version, we're adding OCR so the agent can read receipts and other documents, extract important details, and turn them into structured expense data. So the end result looks like this. I'm going to attach a file, that's a receipt. Let's upload it, and then we can say, tell me about this. So as you can see, the agent was able to pull the information from the image, and it's giving me a breakdown of what it can see. Now I'm going to say, add this to my expenses, but include a 30% tip on top. So it says a tip of 30% is $59.89 times 30%, and that's approximately $17. Perfect. So please confirm, confirmed, and there we have it. The expense has been added. Now for this demo, I'm not going to write everything from scratch. Instead, we'll walk through the Git changes from the previous demo and explain exactly what happened. First things first, we're using LiteParse from LlamaIndex, an open source local document parser. It converts files into AI-friendly text while preserving document structure, and it runs locally, so no cloud dependency, no API keys. We'll use the Node.js CLI, so make sure to install it using npm LlamaIndex LiteParse. Now I have this installed, but you can just run lit to confirm it's installed correctly. If you see something like this, then you're good to go. First, let's take a look at our new service, LiteParse service. And this service keeps the OCR logic out of the agent. The agent calls a tool, the tool calls this service, and this service is responsible for running LiteParse and returning the extracted text. So here's what's happening. First, we validate the file path, so we make sure the file actually exists. After that, we run LiteParse command, and if we go to the terminal again and we say LiteParse help, you can see what other options you have. So depending on your use case, you might want to tweak that. But essentially, parse can parse PDFs, documents, spreadsheets, PowerPoints, images, and more. Okay, then we read the result and any error message from the process and handle any failure. If everything is good to go, we just return the extracted text and send that back to the tool. Another new service that we absolutely need is file storage service, which handles uploaded files. It saves the actual file to disk, gives it a generated ID, and keeps the file metadata in memory so that the app can look it up later. Now for this demo, it's fine to do it like this, but in a real app, you would likely implement this differently. The goal, however, is to have a method, this one, which our tool can call to look up an uploaded document by its ID. And then our tool is going to use that file to pass it to the LiteParse service, which in turn will process it and pass the extracted text to our agent. Okay, so to call this save async and upload files, we need to expose this method using an endpoint. And that's why we have file endpoints, which is just one post request, which calls the save async method right here. And we're going to map this later in program.cs. Okay, now we need to create a new tool so that our agent uses it when it needs to look at uploaded documents like our receipts, PDFs, and anything else really that LiteParse supports. So let me go to document tools. And here, as before, in the previous video, we discussed this decorator. Description is really helpful with Microsoft Agent Framework. It tells the agent what this does. And here we're saying parse a previously uploaded document using its file ID. And then we're saying file ID is the file ID that was returned by the upload endpoint. And then we're just calling our services here, file storage service, which we're using to get the document by ID, and then LiteParse service, which we use to parse this document using its path. Okay, and then that's everything that's happening here. Finally, we just return the text, and we just still need to do a couple of things. The first one is we need to add this new tool to our agent. So here I just changed this to budget tools because I'm going to add document tools, and I'm going to call this variable doc tools. And then if I go down just a little bit, I added this additional instruction, which is the system prompt. I said if the user asks about a PDF, receipt, statement, image, in any other document, just use the document parsing tool. And I'm adding this tool here. So I renamed this here from tools to budget tools. And then I'm adding this new tool here. So doc tools, parse, document async, which is our tool here. Okay, the last thing to do is to add everything in program.cs. So the first thing, we add our LiteParse service and then our file storage service. And then I'm adding document tools. And if we go down again here, I'm mapping that file endpoint, which handles the upload files. That's basically everything. So the logic here, if you've seen my previous video, when we talk to our agent, it's going to determine that it needs to use a tool to look at this document, and then it's going to use this tool here, document tools, and it's going to call the methods that we created, file storage to look at the document to find it, and then LiteParse service to parse it using LiteParse. And then the extracted text is going to be added to the context of the conversation. One thing to note, that LiteParse preserves the layout of the text. So that's really good input for your LLM, which means really good output. That's really everything we're doing. Now let's run back to the demo and try it again. So I'm going to attach the same receipt and I'm going to say, give me the information from this receipt. And so in my front end, you can see that I'm passing the file ID. That way the agent knows to grab the document by its ID, and then LiteParse will parse it. And then restaurant AI kitchen, just dummy data from the receipt that I have. And remember, this is all happening right on your machine, so no API calls. Let's do things like, how much was the double espresso? I don't know. Okay, double espresso cost 4.25. Maybe I just want to add this to my expenses. I'll add the double espresso. No, just add the full receipt. So it says I added the following expenses from the receipt to your budget tracker, and it added each one by itself. Now, obviously that's something that you can optimize, but in this case, I could ask it to actually add the full receipt as one transaction. Let's see what happens. I've added the full receipt as one transaction. Okay, perfect. Now let's try to get this from the database. And if you've seen the previous video, you know that we have an actual database behind this. So I'm going to say, get me the total spend from dinner at the AI kitchen. And now that's also using a tool to get this information from the database. So the total spending on dinner at the AI kitchen, categorized under food, is part of your overall spending of 502. What is the amount of that receipt? The amount of the receipt from the AI kitchen is $59.89. Now, if I want to take this further, I'm going to create a new chat and I'm going to say, what is the amount from the AI kitchen expense? And mind you, a new session means that there's no context. So this is not using information based on the document or the receipt that we uploaded before. This is forcing the agent to call this tool that gets from the database. So let's try it. Okay, looking at the AI kitchen expense only. There we go, $59.89. And the other ones, 2 and 3, I added those before, one with tip and the other one without tip. So we can see them together here with a summary. Anyway, this is just everything that I want to show you, but you can obviously tweak this to whatever you're building. I think it's pretty powerful stuff to have this done locally, which is great for privacy. And you can maybe even run this with Ollama instead of OpenAI. And that way you have 100% local processing, so you're not exposing any data to any server out there. So yeah, thanks for watching. Let me know if this was helpful. I'd love to get your feedback, and I'll see you in the next one.